You're watching Drakewing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and guys, hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming. This is Twitter the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you to the Let's Play episode of Kingsguard. So y'all, I am now an affiliate with Green Man Gaming. What that means is that there's going to be a link in the description. Y'all click that link, I get commission based on whatever y'all buy, and y'all get great discounts on all the latest and greatest games. And also my lovely girlfriend Elle is an artist. I've got links to her FA and Twitter in the description if y'all want to commission her. But anyway, let's jump right back in, shall we? Alarm Shan, you are up, and let's go. Hey, but don't you think for a second that my guard is down. Leandros took a deep breath and closed one of his eyes. Both of them. He had every right to be skeptical, but still it was a bit irritating that he didn't trust you on this. I'm not going to do anything, okay? He slowly closed his other eye and his face tensed. His ears swiveled left to right, gathering information, preparing him for what may happen. You could tell that he was ready to leap at a moment's notice. He was really a mess. You felt like a parent consoling a child, and eventually his face softened. Oh. Huh? We're here! Leandros stared out the window, almost in disbelief, and lo and behold, the train was pulling into the station. So we are. And see? Nothing happened. Yeah. For a second, Leandros moved his lips as though to say something, but instead he sealed his lips and stood. All right, time to go. The nobles and your father are waiting. It seemed as though he wouldn't let your act of kindness sway him from his task at hand. He was still hell-bent on taking you back to the castle so that you would attend your party and that you had been dreading all day. At the very least, you could tell that he might be more lenient on your punishment for leaving the castle and getting into such trouble. Finally, to be on solid, unmoving ground. Leandros stepped off the train and ran a hand through his mane to comb it back, hoping to regain his composure after what you saw on the train. It seemed like he would still have a long way before he overcame that fear. You should be thankful for it, you know. Without that train, we'd likely only be halfway up Main Street by now, even with horses. Time is not an issue when your safety is my top concern. Now, let's hurry on. Leandros quickly reached for your hand as though he were worried you would try to run off again. I'm not a child, I know the way home. I'd imagine, but it makes my job easier getting you close by so that you don't take any detours. Leandros held on tighter and started forward. He wasn't giving you any chances to slip away. As you stared straight ahead, the sight of Yasan Castle loomed in the distance. It was impressive and beautiful as always, a gilded cage just waiting for you. But first you needed to pass through the gates to the Gold District, the highest and richest district in the city. Ahead was an ornate gate of stone, iron, and gold that isolated itself from the rest of the city. Not just anyone could pass on through here. Here, only nobles, wealthy merchants, or personally invited guests were allowed passage beyond, and the guards at the front made sure of that. Welcome home, my liege, Captain. A stern bull, plated in silver and gold armor, stiffly saluted the two of you as you approached the gates. Thank you, soldier. I assume there has been no trouble while I was away. None, Captain. Been quiet as a bishop in worship. Good to hear, if you would. Oh, right away, Captain. The bull quickly turned and gave the signal to the guard to open the gates, granting you passage to the Gold District. Oh, Captain, about that incident several nights ago. That is an issue to be discussed in private, soldier. Right, my apologies. The knight quickly bowed his head low and returned back to his post with a much more rigid posture. Come, Jake. Incident? Nothing for you to be concerned about. Leandros kept a straight and serious face. Something was up, but it would be useless to try and glean any information out of him. It was as tight-lipped as they came. Right as you crossed to the other side of the gate, you found a horse-drawn carriage already waiting to take you up to the castle. While it wasn't much of a walk, you could already tell that your father wanted you home as swiftly as possible, evident by the necessary precaution in front of you. Once inside, there would be no escape. You'd be attending that party. The servant opened the door and you resigned yourself to your fate. The servant gave you a quick briefing of what to expect at the castle, which guests had arrived, and the overall schedule for the evening, but your mind wandered as you stared out the window. The city streets of this part of town were as pristine as ever, and smells much more fragrant and palatable. Nobles and wealthy merchants leisurely strolled through the streets without a care in the world, but with the lack of crime, who would blame them? It was the safest place in the city, reserved for the elite or those with surplus money to spend. Because of how exclusive this part of the city was, there was always tall tales of this district floating around. Streets paved with pearls and gold, a fountain on every corner, and every home had a servant and a servant for their servant. The only time a commoner was ever seen here was when they had an audience with the king. But most issues with the masses were solved by the knights before being presented before your father, or at times yourself. But everything felt distinctively fake and artificial, perhaps because it was just too peaceful, that and it lacked spirit. In the districts below, there was always something going on at all hours of the day. It was exhilarating and thrilling to have things so chaotic and, for lack of a better word, lawless. And while there is much wine to drink, I must also advise my liege to restrict himself to a single cup per hour. My liege? What? My liege, did you catch a single word I said? Oh, something about there being plenty of wine? I see that you are plenty distracted. Captain Leandros, I do not see how you managed to keep your head when dealing with the prince. That's just it. I'm fairly certain I lost my sanity long ago. Ha ha. Well, regardless if you were paying attention or not, I'm sure you needn't have us remind you to be on your best behavior. Yeah. You turned your attention back outside to Havina Castle, a stone fortress situated along the edge of a cliff, giving breathtaking views of the ocean from its perch. One final gate separated the castle from the Gold District, this one even more extravagant than the last, guarded by knights in glamored armor that made you wonder whose outfit was worth more, yours or theirs. We're here, and look, Father even had something else prepared for you as well. You pressed your face against the window of the carriage and glared outside. Seriously? Well, you are the man of the evening. It's only appropriate to announce your arrival. A suite of knights were all standing shoulder to shoulder, creating a path for you right up to the front doors. Talk about overbearing! Is he going to announce whenever I'd leave to take a shit, too? Not a bad idea. We could always use more eyes on you. You're starting to make me regret not going along with that rat. At least he treated me like a regular person. If you honestly believe that being bound, gagged, robbed makes you a regular person, you are mistaken. The prince was what? Forget it! The moment you stepped off the carriage, the grounds were filled with blazing trumpets, singing a short and cheerful tune. In unison, all the knights stiffened their posture, unsheathed their swords in a dramatic pose right towards the sky before bringing them back down parallel to their faces. Once the ditty was over, the doors to the castle opened up, and a servant stepped forth from the castle with a scroll in his hand. His Royal Highness, Prince Jake Lur-Yasan, first and only born son to King Reynard... King Reynard, huh? King Reynard Lur-Yasan and Queen Elena Lur-Yasan has returned. If you would, your majesty, the guest awaits your presence. The servant bowed deeply and parted to the side, giving you... Oh, God, almost sneezed on my keyboard. Jesus, thank you, shirt, you saved me. The servant bowed deeply and parted to the side, giving you an unobstructed path inside. If you were any other person, you would have been flustered and flattered about the reception. It was overly grandiose and truly made you feel as though you were on top of the world. But you loathed these kinds of gaudy presentations. It was all just pretense, a way to boost standing and appearance. Your father likely planned this out as well, a way to venerate you before the guests as though he honestly cared about you. To the side, several aristocrats stared in wonder, clearly fallen for such a charade. You could already see their eyes twinkling with glee to the thought of their daughters walking down such a stage with arms hooked in yours. It would be a long evening if you had to avoid talking about conversations such as merit and succession. But that was likely your father's plan all along, a way to make you all the more presentable to potential suitors. You wished you still had your cloak that Leandros ripped back at the Colosseum so that you could hide your face. Speaking of the lion, he gave you a gentle push to urge you forward, and you had no choice but to head inside. Oh, pretty. The news of your arrival spread throughout the castle like wildfire. Right as you entered the foyer, the guests all quieted down and turned to greet you with regal bows and curtsies. You smiled and waved, trying to put on a brave face, hastening your steps to get to the ballroom where the wine awaited. Leandros was much more constrained to the customs of proper etiquette and ended up getting caught behind as he ensured to bow to each and every noble as he passed. Unlike with you, though, they simply responded with a fierce glare in their eyes and a snap of their head to show their contempt and disgust. There was always a social stigma around beastmen, and nobility, for some reason, were the first to show their true colors. It might have been out of fear, jealousy, envy. There are too many reasons to count. You had no qualms with beastmen. Leandros had been by your side your entire life, and while you had other siblings, he felt far more like an older brother to you than a royal protector. A particularly nasty couple sneered quite loudly before turning to you with the most innocent and gracious of smiles. You wiped imaginary dust from your shoulders as you walked past them, causing them to babble behind you, sounding more appalled than anything. Once you were well enough away, Leandros spoke up. Jake, I thought we went over that you need to be on your best behavior. What did I do? I think you know. That was very disrespectful. Look, I know that you detest these kinds of formal gatherings, but that is no way to treat your guests that came all this way to see you. They came here because my father asked them to, not because they actually care about me or this coronation. Besides, are you really going to berate me for my actions after the reaction to your greetings? I really don't just get how you can lick their boots every year like you do. That's just how it is for the beastmen. There's no point in changing their minds. They are free to think and feel as they wish. That isn't the issue here. Your soldiers, even most of the citizens, humans and beastmen, all respect you. How you were born should have nothing to do with them not giving you the proper recognition while they are in the city under your protection. And considering how close you are to my father, you would think they would behave properly. Any sort of disrespect shown to you is the same as spitting in the face of the family. They deserve far less attention than you give them, and they certainly don't deserve mine. Why are you looking at me like that? It's nothing. I'm just speaking my mind. It's not any different from them. I really wish that sometimes you'd be more aware of your actions and how they affect how others perceive you. But thank you. I'm happy to know that you still genuinely care about an old cat like me. Why do you say things like that? Why do you say things like that? Why do you say that like you're surprised? I'm your brother, even if not by blood. While your job as Kingsguard might be to look over me, you still need someone to watch your back from the backstabbers and mudslingers of the court. Those snakes are a ruthless bunch, and if you won't defend yourself from them, then I suppose that I will. And you are supposed to be said guardian, princess? Hey! You better keep that to yourself. You needn't worry, princess. Your secret will remain safe with me. I swear, now I really need to get something to drink. Care for anything in particular? I will have to pass on that. What? Got better things to do than to hang around the prince? As much as I would enjoy staying in your company, I still have to meet with many of the guests. It would be unbecoming of the captain of the guard if I were to be seen drinking while on the job. Or because you are a beastman, and they have such a pretentious attitude about it. Regardless of what they think, it's best not to rock the boat. Anyway, it's time we parted for now. Do keep out of trouble. This is the time for you to gain the nobles' favor so that they support your right to rule, not oppose it. And try to enjoy the evening without too much wine. Leandros hurried off to speak with the couple, who clearly thought that three was a crowd, leaving you all by your lonesome. I could outdrink an elephant. He's concerned about me drinking? Well, whatever. First things first. To the refreshments! Nobles, family members, merchants, performers, musicians, and servants all mingled throughout the room. It was as crowded as the market streets at noon, and likely far more dangerous. With pickpockets, you had to worry about your money being stolen, but here you had to worry about your reputation. Coin could always be easily earned again, but a slandered name was something you might have to live with for the rest of your life. Everyone smiled at each other, but all secretly wished to wrap their hands around each other's throats and strangle each other in their lust for power and recognition. It was a game to them, to knock others down until they alone stood on top. Everything you did was carefully watched and scrutinized so they could get any dirt on you. But you... well, you couldn't care less about what they thought. If you had your way, you could have strutted through the room in nothing but your skivvies, drinking from a bottle of wine and singing the national anthem out of tune without blinking an eye. Politics, deception, and court intrigue was never your thing. Glad you could join us, sire. A servant of the castle plopped his way in front of you just as you were about to reach forth towards a server carrying a tray with glasses of red wine. You stood on your toes and attempted to peer past the servant, but it appeared that they had already been swallowed amongst the crowd without a trace. Sire? You dropped your hand in defeat and confronted your distractor. Yeah? I hope I did not interrupt you from something. No, it's nothing. I could see that father really went all out this year as well. Yes, well, today is more than exceptional. He glanced around to find out where he might be hiding within the crowd. So where is he, anyway? He's been in conference with the council since noon. I imagine it had something to do with your disappearance this morning. Well, he should be out shortly. You know how busy he can be. But in the meantime, please enjoy the food and drink. We have imported the finest aged wines from all over. We even have a few exotic dishes from the wastes. What makes it so exotic? As it turns out, not all of Farharan is barbaric territory. It seems they do have a few cities that resemble a proper civilization with culture. Those of high standing do have delicacies. If you are of the adventurous type, I urge you to try some. We have plenty of entertainment this evening, and the most notable being the talented voices of Fran Francesco and Adelina Callas, who have traveled all the way to Renaro. I've heard they've composed a duet in your honor, and this will be the first night that anyone shall hear it before it is sung in the Mirage Amphitheater. A song in my name? I suppose it wouldn't take much for the king to make a request on my behalf. We also have the traveling performers from Madame Luminitza's circus troupe, who will be performing the play The Count of Dachshund. And if you make your way to the garden, I think you'll find them performing stunts with their ferocious yet tame animals. I did happen upon a peak and caught an elephant standing on a ball. Can you believe that? My apologies, I didn't mean to lose my composure. Does that ever bother you? Bother me? Why would it? Never mind. Just a naive thought. I suppose that does sound rather impressive. I should probably feel flattered that my father has gone all out. It will be a feast for the senses this evening. Lastly, we'll be making space in this hall at the end of the night for dance, which I do hope you will stay for. Dance was never one of your strong features, even with the best teachers that father brought in. You could never get too into it. He chalked it up to being forced to dance with a partner that was always of the opposite sex. Worse yet, for the hours wasted having to learn most of the time you would just be swaying left to right. A curtain could do a better dance in the breeze. If you will excuse me, though, there are still some things I must attend to. Enjoy the evening, sire. The servant bowed once more and scurried off. As you glanced around the room, there was a lot to take in. I suppose that I'm here. I might as well enjoy myself. Now, what to do first? Continue on. Circus animals. Banquet table. Let's do everything. Hugged up tight to the east side of the room was a long table covered with food. The smells that wafted from around there was exquisite, nearly making you salivate with hunger. You allowed your nose to guide you to the room and stopped in front of a fully roasted pig, still fresh and steaming as though it had just come out of the oven. A smorgasbord of meat and seafood dishes flanked the swine from both sides, while hors d'oeuvres and desserts took up the ends of the table. There was so much food you didn't even know where to begin. A servant made his way over in hopes to assist you, but you quickly shooed them away and began to help yourself. You probably could have filled your entire plate if it wasn't for a regal ice sculpture that caught your attention. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Leave a super thanks or a tip if you can. It always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!